She said, "I'm sorry, but I'm running late for school."
Or a cyclist going against the flow.
You were coming from the opposite direction. In California, it's illegal to drive against traffic.
This is Judge Judy. Bicyclist Kalinda Watts is suing motorist Alyssa Mincher for running into her when Alyssa pulled out of a driveway.
Judge, this case number 116 on the calendar in the matter of Watts versus Mincher. Parties have been sworn in. Have a seat, ma'am.
Miss Watts, this accident happened about 2 years ago. According to your complaint, you were riding a bicycle to a campus job that you had. Where do you go to school?
I attended Chico State University.
This incident happened on October 17th of 2018. Approximately what time?
Around 7:51 a.m.
So in the daylight?
Yes.
You were riding your bicycle, and it is your claim that the defendant hit you on the bike. You were injured, wore a knee brace, etc. The defendant says the accident was your fault. So let's try to figure it out, and then we'll try to figure out what took you 2 years to get here. You were riding in the street, correct, with traffic?
Yes, yeah, well...
You were traveling in the street where cars travel, not on the sidewalk. Or against traffic?
I was riding against traffic. At that time, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to, and I was against.
I don't care whether you knew it or not.
Okay.
Whether you knew it is not relevant. You live in California. This incident happened in California. In California, it's illegal to drive against traffic. You know that now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you know that now because, according to, I think what I read, you did at some point consult an attorney.
Yes, Your Honor. I did have an attorney, and he gave it to his assistant, which is my paralegal, who is with me today.
You no longer have that attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And I would suggest to you that one of the reasons you don't have that attorney is because it's very difficult, unless you can show some extraordinary reason, like the defendant was intoxicated, high, texting, doing something that was grossly negligent, that when you're committing an act that is illegal under California law, which is driving against traffic, very hard to prove that somebody else is culpable for an accident. So now you're traveling against traffic. It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. According to your complaint, you were coming up to a driveway, the driveway of an apartment complex. So you tell me what happened.
Okay. On my way, I saw a car pulling out of the driveway. At first, I had stopped to make sure that she knew that I was riding my bike. She had made a stop, a complete stop, and while I was riding from her right, she was only looking towards the left side, not looking both ways. So I was trying to make eye contact with her while I was riding my bike, also trying to acknowledge her. I was waving, and I kept saying, "Hey," so she knew that I was approaching. And by the time that I was trying to pass her, she collided into my knee and my bike, and I had to stop my fall before I was hit by a truck. I could have been hit by a truck, correction, I'm sorry.
So it sounds to me like she did everything right. She stopped. She came to a complete stop. She was looking to make a right-hand turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
She looked to her left to make sure that there were no cars coming to her left so that she could make a right-hand turn. You were coming from the opposite direction, riding the wrong way, and she didn't see you. If you stopped before the driveway, actually stopped before the driveway, you wouldn't have gotten hit. Am I getting something? Is something not registering with me?
No, Your Honor. You're actually correct. I knew that I was coming towards the bike path.
But clearly, I mean, because she doesn't look like a nut job, and she wasn't drunk at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, and she came to a full stop. So you're not suggesting to me, Miss Watts, that you tried to make contact with her, you actually did make contact with her so that she acknowledged that you were there and that you could go, and she accelerated anyway and hit you on purpose. You're not suggesting that to me.
No, Your Honor.
Well, what theory do you have that would suggest to me that she's responsible for this accident? Just because you were on a smaller bike? What's your theory?
No, Your Honor. So,
I mean, you're not a lawyer.
Yes, I am not. The only problem that I had was after she hit me, I didn't At that time, I was struck. I didn't know the protocol of, getting people's information or their insurance. All I asked was when after we collided, she looked at me and she said, "I'm sorry, but I'm running late for school." And I told her that I was on my way to school as well, the same campus that we attend at the time. And all she did was give me her number. She put it in my phone, and there was a witness that was there that pulled over and saw the accident at the time, and she just left. I tried to get in contact with her the next day because I told her I didn't want to file a lawsuit. I didn't want to sue her or anything because I was dealing with the physical pain from the handlebars colliding into my rib cage, and I went to the hospital that same day. Just stating about, I just told her once I got in contact with Alyssa at the time, I told her, all I want is for you to just pay for the medical bills. That's it. I didn't want anything else. I didn't want to press charges. When I told my family, they told me it was best that I got her insurance information because that's what you're supposed to do when you get into an accident. So she just kept denying and didn't want to give me her insurance. And I told her, once again, I don't want to sue you. I don't want to press charges. I just want your insurance information because that's the protocol that we're supposed to do, and that's what my family requested. She hung up in my face. Yeah. I kept calling her. She did not answer and was ignoring my calls. I sent her a text message that on the 19th, just reinstating that I didn't want to sue or do anything. All I wanted was her insurance information. And she still never responded.
What did you want? Just a second. Just a second. She should have given you her insurance information, except the accident was your fault. I mean, protocol was she should have given you her insurance. But according to what you told me, Miss Watts, according to your testimony and what I read in the completely on the wrong side of the street, she came to a full stop at her parking lot and didn't see you traveling the wrong side of the street. And as you said, the two of you collided. Now, let us assume that you were not hurt and you didn't have sore ribs and you didn't have a sore knee for a few weeks. Let's say you were not hurt at all, but your bicycle scratched up her car and she had a counterclaim that your bicycle scratched her car. I would dismiss your lawsuit and grant her counterclaim because the accident was your fault. The fact that you were hurt is sad, but irrelevant to the fact that the accident was your fault. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. You now know, and the attorney that you spoke to told you that California law says that you must drive in the direction of traffic, and it's illegal to do so otherwise. And I'm sure the attorney told you that.
Yes, Your Honor, and I take full responsibility.
Well, if you do, then you understand that I'm dismissing your lawsuit. Just because there's an accident and somebody gets hurt, it doesn't mean that it's somebody else's fault. Now, there's no question, Miss Mincher, that you should have given her your insurance information because that's up to other people to say. Did you have insurance on your car?
I did, yes.
In October of 2018?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What make and model car do you have?
At the time, it was a 1995, let's see. It was a 1995 Buick. It was a white vehicle. I'm not too sure what model it is.
Okay, Miss Mincher. The plaintiff tells me, true or not, that she tried to make eye contact with you. Did you see her riding the bike?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you go to work the next day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you use the same bicycle that you had used the day before?
No, Your Honor. Ever since that accident, I've never touched my bike again.
And later today,
I want to know where June's rent was.
Where June's rent was?
Yeah, you were supposed to pay $350 for June. Why didn't you pay it?
bicyclist Kalinda Watts says she was injured after motorist Alyssa Mincher collided with her when Alyssa pulled out of a driveway.
Now, the plaintiff tells me, true or not, that she tried to make eye contact with you. Did you see her riding the bike?
No.
In the opposite direction of traffic?
Her.
Did you continue to your job that day?
No, Your Honor. I sat in the parking lot waiting for my supervisor at the time to come pick me up, and she took me home.
Did you go to work the next day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And did you use the same bicycle that you had used the day before?
No, Your Honor. Ever since that accident, I've never touched my bike again.
How did you get to your job?
I started taking the local bus.
Smart. Where is the bicycle? Where was it in October, November? Did you sell it? Give it away?
No, Your Honor. I had left it parked at the apartment complex that I lived in at that time.
You left it there, and you moved and left it there?
Yes, but I ended up getting rid of it, yes, Your Honor. I didn't sell it, though.
How did you get rid of it?
Selling it for parts. I needed the finances, dealing with my own financial problems. So I just gave certain parts away. The tires, they were already flat from the accident, so I just threw what I could away that was left over.
Okay. All right. Fine. Ms. Watts, I'm glad I could finally give you a little bit of closure. I know that you probably had a little bit of it through your attorney. No, you have the paralegal here. I don't need the paralegal. It's clear that not every accident that has an injury will be a demonstration that the person who was the cause of that accident. In this case, she was not the cause of the accident. You were. Unfortunately, you got hurt. But I'm glad you're better and moved on. So your case is dismissed and we're finished. Thank you. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Well, I take full responsibility of my actions.
All I remember from it was I was about to turn. I saw a flash in front of me.
Yes, I did go to the hospital.
And I stopped immediately, and I know that it was her fault, but I felt really bad.
I've dealt with depression, anxiety, PTSD from that. I went to counseling for a whole year just trying to process that.
I immediately went out to try and help her up, and then she told me to get back into the parking lot, and I did so and continued to try and help her out.
Still haven't ridden a bike after that, so it's still, a huge impact.
I'm glad that we've gotten closure and I don't have to deal with this anymore. It's been 2 years.
I take full responsibility of my actions, so, getting a resolution and just being able to have an understanding of, what went down. I'm just honored to even be here, so.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Keffer versus Aragon, step forward.
24-year-old Jenny Keffer is suing her former roommate paid rent after she broke their lease and moved in with her boyfriend.
All right, Miss Aragon, I'm going to start with you. You and the plaintiff rented an apartment together. You had a lease on the apartment. It was just the two of you on the lease. So far, is that correct?
Yes.
And when did you sign that lease?
I think it was the end of December.
2012?
Yes, I believe so.
Don't ask me. It's not a question. When did you sign the lease?
January 1st, 2013.
And it was a one-year lease?
No, it was a 6-month lease.
When did you move out?
May 20th.
So you moved out prior to the termination of the lease because, according to you, you couldn't afford to pay the rent anymore.
Yes.
Ms. Keffler was able to find somebody for the month of June to come in. She says that the person who she found to come in was prepared to pick up a portion of your rent for the month of June. So she was trying to limit your liability. And what she wants from you is your portion of the rent that was not covered by this roommate that she found on a short-term lease, which was $350, and a $50 late fee, because she said that you were really supposed to pay that rent to the rental office. You didn't, so she had to pay $400. Can I see the check for $400?
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to say to me, Miss Aragon?
Yes, I had every intention of holding a workers' comp check. I was involved in a bad car accident on April 30th. I expressed to Jenny, I came to her and told her that I was having financial difficulties because of the car accident.
I heard that you were having financial difficulties. You still owe the $350.
Exactly.
By the way, the check here is just for $350, not a $50 late fee, so it's $350.
Exactly.
So did you move out?
I moved out on May 20th.
Did you pay the $350?
I did not, because she was withholding my workers' comp check. I had no money. I had
Just a second. How could she be withholding it if you moved out in May?
Well, I have that it was issued June 13th, and then it had to be reissued again because I had to put a void on the check. So.
I want to know where June's rent was.
Where June's rent was?
Yeah, you were supposed to pay $350 for June. Why didn't you pay it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why are you still living there?
The new roommate and I renewed our lease.
Then you owe her the security deposit.
She forfeited it when
No, she didn't. No, dear. You are incorrect.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenny Keffer says her ex-roommate, Amber Aragon, broke their lease. Amber is countersuing for the return of her security deposit.
Now, Miss Aragon, did you pay?
Workers' comp check.
Your workman's comp check wasn't issued until June 13th. Rent is due the 1st of the month. And I'm asking you, do you have any reason, just reason, why you didn't pay on the 1st of June the $350?
Because I didn't have the financial means.
That's the answer. It's not because she was withholding your mail,
but
because the check wasn't issued until after the rent was due, right?
I understand, yes.
Okay, so that's part of your counterclaim. But the reason you didn't pay her is not because she was withholding your mail. The reason you didn't pay her is because you say you didn't have the money, right?
Well, because she was withholding the check. It was just reissued after the fact.
On what date did she say, I'm withholding your check until you pay me my money?
Can I?
Look, give me the date.
On June 8th.
That's the 8th. And when is rent due?
On the 1st.
On the 1st. So you didn't pay June's rent.
But
you skipped out on June's rent. And when you skipped out on June's rent, where did you go?
I went to...
Where did you go to live?
At my boyfriend's
Right.
apartment.
You went to live with your boyfriend. So you owe her $350. Now, the only issue that I have with you actually, her counterclaim, the rest of the stuff is nonsense. Does she have a security deposit with you?
Well, it rolled over. She forfeited the security deposit when she signed her name off the lease.
Do you have a piece of paper saying that she's the lease?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
This is her signing her name off the lease.
I just want to see that it says she forfeits her security deposit. It says the security deposit will be retained by the landlord until possession of the property is returned to the landlord. Have you done that?
No, I still live there.
Still live there?
So I didn't get any security deposit back.
Just a second. When was your lease up?
July 1st.
Well, why are you still living there?
Because the new roommate and I renewed our lease.
Then you owe her the security deposit.
She forfeited it when
No, she didn't. No, dear. You are incorrect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Real Cases, Real People. Judge Judy. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, just because you and your new roommate decided to stay on in the premises, her obligation under that lease would have terminated automatically. So you have to return her security deposit. How much did she put into the security deposit?
It was $580, and we split it. And then there's $120 out when the lease is up. So 580 minus 120 is 460.
No. She owes you $100. You have a security deposit. You're going to get it back. Keep the apartment nice and clean. Anything else?
There's nothing as far as regarding the fact that she was withholding my check, and I was late on bills and everything like that because she was withholding my workers' comp check.
When did you finally get the check?
It was issued on June 13th. It came like probably like 3 or 4 days after that.
So you got it within 3 days?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that much trouble because you were living with your boyfriend, right?
Well, I still have to pay rent with my boyfriend.
How much rent did you have to pay with your boyfriend?
I had to pay $500.
I don't believe anything. Okay. You owe her $100. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I guarantee you, he thinks he's God's gift.
Charmed out of her money?
You gave him a credit card, then you gave him another card. That's not smart.
My bad.
Judge Judy.
I don't agree with the fact that I have to give her security deposit back because we never even discussed it.
I don't think that she was necessarily telling the complete truth.
I did her a favor and I found someone who couldn't afford to pay it.
I couldn't afford it because I got in a car accident. I didn't know exactly what my financial situation was going to be like.
She tried to find someone off Craigslist, but I am not about to live with some sketchy person off Craigslist.
I did look on Craigslist. I did ask around and see if anybody that I knew would be able to just basically take over the complete portion of the rent.
What friendship? We're not friends.
I don't know. It was kind of out of my hands, considering I got in a car accident. I couldn't afford it. So maybe drive careful.
Choose your roommates wisely.
You decided to put new flooring throughout the house.
To start, I gave him $500 up front.
Workers wanted her to pay in full.
The weekend was coming up.
They told me they would have it done by the weekend, so I gave them $1,300 in cash.
But she was floored when they didn't return.
Who asked the plaintiff for the balance of the money?
Who?
What are you asking me for?
This is Judge Judy. 20-year-old Logan Garinger is suing concrete laborer 20-year-old Colton Wallace for a partial refund of the money he charged her to install the floor in her new home.
This is case number 162 on the calendar in the matter. Gentlemen, have a seat. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Garinger, is this the first house that you bought in 2020?
Yes.
How big a house is it?
I think altogether it was 1,300 square feet.
What do you mean it was? Do you still own it?
Yes, I do. I don't know it off the top of my head, Your Honor.
Who did you buy it from?
My mom was the one that had purchased it, and then I bought it from her.
When did your mother buy it?
I don't know.
When did you buy it from your mother?
I still don't know.
Well, you have to know when you bought the house.
We moved in October.
Who's we?
Me and my roommate. Also my witness. Her name's Lindsay, Your Honor.
How much did you pay for it?
$315,000, Your Honor.
And where is it located?
It's in Garden City, Idaho.
How much is your mortgage?
$1,500 a month.
Good. So far, you're doing fine. I know you didn't expect to being asked these questions, but so far, you're doing okay.
I apologize for not knowing. Yes, I do. I'm a waitress.
And what does your roommate do?
She's a waitress with me as well.
Does she pay you rent?
Yes.
How much?
$600 a month.
Great. So together you managed to support a house and a
Yes.
mortgage and pay taxes?
Yes.
Before you moved into the house, you decided to put new flooring throughout the house. And you were talking to a friend, and the friend said, I have a friend, and together we can, if you want it done cheaper, we can do it for you if you buy the materials. That's what this case is about. This is working in the house. The deal was that your dad was going to buy the materials, and you would just pay them for labor. You would pay him $1,800 for labor to install the flooring in the house. Your dad was going to buy it. Had you already picked out the flooring?
Yes, I had. Because he was the one that had bought it at first.
Who's he?
My father.
Did you ever tell the defendant that you were buying clip-on flooring, clip-on wood flooring?
I never said that I was buying clip-on flooring, no. I didn't know what type it was, but he knew before he came to the house to do it.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Don't tell me what he knew. Just answer my question. So far, you're doing fine.
Okay.
Did the defendant go with your father to buy the flooring?
No.
Do you know what clip-on flooring is?
No.
Neither do I. What do you do for a living, Mr. Wallace?
I do self-labor. I did concrete and home remodels for the past 4 years.
You do concrete work?
Yeah.
Do you work for yourself or are you freelance?
Currently work for myself, yes.
What kind of concrete work?
Foundations and footings, and we did driveways as well.
Who's we?
The company I used to work for.
What was the last job that you had for yourself?
It was home remodels.
Month and year?
I want to say March 2000.
A year ago.
Yeah.
So that's the last time you did concrete work, was almost a year ago. How have you been supporting yourself?
I do jobs. Currently, like what I was doing for her, I make, decent money.
Just 1 second.
Yes, Your Honor.
You do odd jobs.
Yeah.
Prior to trying to put in her wood floor, I want you to give me the name of the person for whom you installed a wood floor.
Cannon.
Were they referred to you?
It's a friend of mine.
Did you do one room or more than one room for?
I did one room for him.
And how much did you charge him?
$1,100.
Was it a clip-on floor?
Correct.
When was the last time you installed a floor that was not a clip-on floor?
Never.
Never. So when you saw that the plaintiff's father, who has agreed between the two of you, would purchase the material, bought a wood floor that was not a clip-on floor, right?
Yeah.
Did you tell the plaintiff, I don't know how to do this, I only know how to do clip-on floors?
No, Your Honor. So when we got in contact with each other, she said she didn't know.
No. Her father bought the materials, brought it to the house. You look at it. On what day do you remember that her father brought the materials to the house?
Before I showed up.
Okay, just a second. On what date did your father bring the materials to the house? If you don't know, we'll ask him.
I don't know.
Could you stand up, sir?
October 14th, Your Honor.
10/14. And that's when you delivered the flooring to your daughter's new home.
Yes.
And you showed up on the 15th of October.
Correct, I think, yes.
Well, what did you do when you looked at this flooring that wasn't clip-on?
I know how to do adhesive flooring. I've never done it. But I mean, it's pretty simple when you look at, you know, how it connects and how it bonds together. So then I didn't look at her and tell her, no, I don't know how to do this.
The plaintiff gave you how much money as a deposit for the whole job, which was $1,800? How much did the plaintiff give you and when?
She gave me $1,500 in cash, and it was...
No. I want you to be very careful with what you tell me.
100%.
Did she give you any money before you started work?
No.
Do you want to tell me in October what you gave him to start work?
Yes, Your Honor. So to start, I gave him $500 up front to go to Home Depot and get any of the supplies that he needed.
Did you give him $500 in cash?
Yes.
Not really.
Does that sound familiar to you?
I had to buy tools for the adhesive. I had my witness with me, and I was also teaching him how to do flooring. So when I brought him on, I had to go buy flooring, I had to buy a skill saw, and then a tile roller.
Why don't you answer my question? I didn't ask you for a whole long story.
Okay.
All I asked you was, did she give you any money?
Yes.
You said she gave... Well, then just answer the question.
Okay, yeah.
She gave you money to... How much did she give you?
Around $500.
Before you started...
Around $500.
All right. So she gave you $500, and you wanted to show your friend what to do.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you've started the job, and you're supposed to get paid the other $1,300 when you're what? Tell me the word.
When we were finished.
Right. But before you were finished, the weekend was coming up. I want to see if anything rings your bell. Before you finished and the weekend is coming up, who asked the plaintiff for the balance of the money because you needed it?
Who?
Who?
I don't know. Me?
Ask the plaintiff. What are you asking me for? I'm a television personality. Why are you asking me if I gave her money? I didn't. Who were finished? Who asked for the balance before they were finished?
They both said they wanted it for the weekend. So since I thought they were friends, I gave it to them.
Tell me what, just a second. When you say both, who's both? Somebody had to say, or they both were talking at the same time, both he and the person who I can't see over there. Somebody put a camera on him. Okay. This genius also, were they together when they asked you for the $1,300?
So it started off with Aiden, and then Colton took over everything. So Colton was the one that asked for it for the weekend.
Well, tell me where that conversation took place.
In the kitchen of the house, when there was already progress made. They told me they would have it done by the weekend. So I gave them $1,300 in cash.
So now you were fully paid?
They were fully paid, yes. And I have evidence if you'd like to see it.
I don't need evidence. He doesn't deny it. He started out this case by saying she gave me $1,800 for labor. That's what she gave. That's what he started with. All right. How many rooms did they complete?
No. Your Honor, they completed almost 2 rooms.
Do you have photographs of those 2 rooms?
We have video.
The work that they did?
We have video.
I'd like to see the video.
Dining room with edging that needs done. Edging that needs done. Edging. And they left the hall. We've put a few pieces in. Nothing in here. Nothing in here. In the hall. Some in here, which will have to be ripped up. And nothing.
Okay, so they did 2 rooms. Not completely, but they did 2 rooms. And they did it with your materials. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay. Well, did they not come back? What happened? Now you can tell me what happened.
I had came back, and there was no progress made that Monday.
When?
The Monday the following week.
Okay, so they didn't work on the weekend, but they had been paid on Friday.
Yes.
Okay. Monday, nothing got done. And?
So I had texted him, and I was like, are you, like, what's up? I can give you more time if you need it, but I have a dateline that I do need to meet, because in the process of all of this, we were moving all of our stuff out of our old place.
Just okay. Don't go into tributaries. Just stay in the river.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What's happening? And what did he say?
He didn't answer either of us. And then I had messaged him and I was like, I'm going to take you to court. And he said, okay, take me to court.
And later today.
According to you, the steering wheel was not tight. And as a result of the steering wheel jumping around, the truck was swerving like this.
Correct.
Like you are, with bobbing and weaving right now. And would it have been tighter if you had a license?
Logan Geringer claims Colton Wallace never completed installing the floor in her new home. She is suing for a partial refund of the money she paid.
Okay, you texted him and said, what's happening? And what did he say?
And he was just like, I don't know. I don't have anyone to come help work with me right now. Just give me a second. I'll get back to you. Nothing had been done since then. My dad even offered to cut the flooring as long as he would put it down. My dad had just had major back surgery, so he was recovering from that. Otherwise, he would have done it himself. He didn't answer either of us. And then I had messaged him and I was like, hey, I'm just asking for $800 back. I really appreciate the work you did do and the time that you did take to spend, but I'm going to take you to court. Otherwise, if you can't give it back to me. And he said, okay, take me to court. And I have evidence. Okay.
I'd like to see that. Your message to him and his to you.
Okay. So
just don't say anything.
Okay.
And what did he say to you? What did he answer you? So you asked him for $800 back.
Yes.
He appreciates the work that you did. Keep going. What an idiot. So you asked him for $800 back, and you thought that that was fair. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I do, too. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. We're done. Thank you very much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I think it was fairable.
I mean, it couldn't have went better.
I wasn't getting paid enough. I don't work for free.
Halfway through, he said, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done adhesive before.
I guess I don't know what I'm doing, right?
I was like, why did you start it in the first place?
I'll probably stick to concrete.
I will be going with a licensed contractor in the future.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bear versus Piles. Step forward.
Laura Bear is causing her truck to be impounded when he was caught driving with a suspended license.
Miss Bear, let me see if I understand this. This is your story. Your story is this young man wanted to buy your truck. He took it for, you say, a test drive. While he had it on the test drive, the truck was stopped. He had a suspended license. The truck was impounded, and the truck has been sitting in impound, where it has accumulated $8,000 worth of fines or whatever from impound. And you want him to pay you $2,200, despite the fact that, according to you, you agreed to sell him the truck for $1,000, and he was out for a test drive. Mr. Piles, on the other hand, said that he and your brother or brother-in-law...
No, it was her fiance was with me.
They were going out someplace, and they needed to borrow your car. Who wanted to pick up a girlfriend? You?
Yeah. Well, I picked her up on the way to the
listen,
store.
Look at me. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, I wanted to pick up my girlfriend. They said, sure, go and use the truck. You went, use the truck. And according to you, the steering wheel was not tight, right?
Correct.
And would it have been tighter if you had a license?
No, it wouldn't have made a difference.
No, right.
Judge Judy continues in a...
Because of DUI.
Right, but my suspension should have been up.
Well, I should have been 5'8".
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Laura Bear says former friend Matthew Piles owes for causing her truck to be impounded. Matthew says the incident is Laura's fault, and he is countersuing for emotional distress.
It wouldn't have made any difference whether had a license or not, because the steering wheel was jumping around, and as a result of the steering wheel jumping around, the truck was swerving like this, right?
Correct.
Like you are, with bobbing and weaving right now, and you got stopped.
Right.
And then they impounded her truck because you were driving with a suspended license.
Correct.
Now, your license was suspended because of a DUI.
Right. But my suspension was should have been up.
Well, I should have been 5'8", but I turned out to be 5 feet tall, and that's where I stayed. So that happened on what date, Mr. Piles?
It was back in February. I don't know the exact number.
Do you need a chair to sit down, sir? Are you sure you're able to stand up?
Yeah.
Great. Do you remember? Now, your fiancé, were you with him that night?
I'd been with him earlier that day, Your Honor.
Great, but you weren't with him when he was driving?
No, ma'am, not after he left.
Now you can sit.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you know that you all know each other, and you know that the truck is now in impound, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why don't you go get it?
I cannot afford it.
Well, not now. Then.
Then? I
Yeah,
absolutely couldn't afford it then.
Well, then what prompted you to wake up this morning and say, now this would be a good time for me to go and get thousands of dollars from Mr. Piles?
Because since then, I have not had a vehicle. When he took it, he was going to buy it from me. And he agreed after it was impounded that he was going to pay for it to get out.
I don't believe that at all. However, let us say he borrowed the truck. That's what you say, you borrowed the truck. Because I don't believe her with regard to you were going to buy it. You borrowed it to go pick up your girlfriend. But you were not supposed to be behind the wheel of a truck or any other motor vehicle because you didn't have a license. And the reason her car was impounded was because you didn't have a license. So whose fault is that?
But they couldn't impound her vehicle because my suspension...
Oh, yes, they could. What do you mean they couldn't? I'm telling you they did.
No, she could have gone down there and gotten it back out of impound because they can't...
She could have. You know, she could have. As again, I say to you, I could have been 5'8".
But I gave her the $100.
When did you give her $100?
I gave it to her later that day, or the next day, the following day.
In February?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, she sort of acknowledges that you gave her the $100 to go and get it out of impound. As a matter of fact, she says that he gave me $100, but she says that you didn't give her the $100 till May.
No, ma'am. No, I gave it to her the next day.
You gave it to her the next day?
Right.
You sure?
Yes.
I believe you. How's that?
It works.
Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
Go get the car out of impound. That's what you should have done. Sorry, can't help you. Now, let's deal with your ridiculous counterclaim.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Why don't you, in the few brief minutes that I have remaining in my day, explain to me why you think Miss Bear owes you $2,000?
Because it's her vehicle, and she knows the condition of her vehicle. And for her to allow me to get into the defective steering, drive it with defective else's life that was in the vehicle and around me on the road, I believe that that's the reason for my countersuit, is for her knowingly allowing me to drive.
If the car had crashed and you were dead, I actually would have entertained that application from your estate. But since you're not and you're here, your case is dismissed.
Okay.
Great. Now, he gave you $100. You should have gotten the car out of impound. Dismissed. Goodbye. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, the judge has no appetite for dishonesty.
You knew you were breaking the law when you were cooking and selling food out of your house. You don't have a love affair with the truth.
Judge Judy.
He hadn't given me money until May.
No, I gave her the money and told her to go get it out of impound.
So it sat in impound. I couldn't afford to pay for it.
Because they can't impound her vehicle for me driving.
Now I'm out of a vehicle.
It's not my vehicle.
Not let your friends borrow your vehicles.
No, I'm glad it's over with.
Willing and able to do this job.
But a homeowner...
When did you get back to him?
...wasn't on the same page.
I told him at this point I wanted to cancel.
You canceled the night before.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Stetler.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your responses to me are flaky.
No, I don't understand.
Flaky.
This is Judge Judy. Matthew Stetler is suing home alarm installer Travis Bailey for failing to install a surveillance system in his home.
It's case number 189 on the calendar in the matter of Stetler versus Bailey. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Stetler, you purchased some surveillance equipment for your home. What kind of surveillance equipment did you purchase?
Surveillance cameras.
How many did you purchase?
I purchased a total of 8, Your Honor.
How much did you pay for the 8 security cameras?
Paid $1,700 for the system.
So it's one system?
Yeah, it's a system that has, with a hard drive with cameras and everything that needs to be installed.
And that's where Mr. Bailey comes in, because you needed someone to install the system. On what date did you purchase the system?
I'm not quite sure of the exact date. It was somewhere in December. I purchased the system. They sat at my house for quite some time before I had them installed, or looked at getting them installed.
Okay, no, so you purchased...
That's correct, Your Honor.
So you purchased them in December of 2019, and they did nothing. Sometime in June of 2020, some 6 months later, you contacted the defendant to install them.
That's correct.
And you told him that you would need $900 up front, and the total job was going to be what, to install the system?
Yes, so we'd be wrapping hundreds of feet of wire around his home, and we did collect that deposit.
Listen,
I'm sorry, what was your question, Your Honor?
I want you for a moment to think like a woman. I want you to put on your listening ears.
Okay.
Put on your listening ears. I asked you a simple question, and the question was, what was the total cost of the job? That's a number.
Just above $1,800. I believe it was $1,815.
And on that date, on the 20th of June, he gave you a $900 deposit.
Correct.
And you told him that it would be about half a day's work to
I don't
install.
believe it'd be half a day. I don't recall that exact statement.
Well, how long do you think it would have taken you had you done the job?
It would have probably been a full day.
One day. Well, one man's full day is another man's half day. It depends upon how fast and how diligently you work.
Correct.
And he had the materials except for one piece. And the one piece that you said you to explain to me what that is. At my age, I only want no information that involves getting me from one meal to the next. So I don't want to know what a router does. But with reference to this case, you bought the router,
correct,
according to you.
Yes.
For his system.
Correct.
And how much did you spend that you have a receipt for the router?
It's after tax just over $150.
Did you buy it?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's probably still sitting in the office. I don't use equipment that's for jobs that didn't go in on that job, unless the client discloses that they don't need it or want it.
Why didn't you bring it? It's part of your defense that you bought an item. You started working on it. You researched it, and you bought an item. So why didn't you bring it? Where do you come from? You come from across the country?
No, Modesto. Things have been very hectic for our company during COVID.
But you drove here.
Correct.
Why don't you just put it in the car? Is it very big, this router? Is it bigger than a bread box? Is it bigger than a coffin?
No,
what is it?
Roughly this.
How big is it? Show me with your hands.
Roughly this big.
And who else drove in the car with you?
I had a friend join me.
Great. Is your car a 2-door car or a 4-door car?
4-door.
Good, so you had plenty of room in the back seat to put the router, if you want credit for the router. Anyway, you didn't get back to him for a while to let him know what date. Thing you said to him was, give me the $900, and I'm going to look in my book and get back to you and let you know what date I can come and do it.
That is incorrect, Your Honor.
That was, well, tell me what you said. You took the $900, and what date did you tell him that you were going to start work?
So when we collected the deposit, the plaintiff gave me an option for 2 days he wanted to select for the install, and he would let me know which day. So I reserved 2 days on my calendar for him.
Which 2 days did he tell you?
I remember it was a Tuesday or a Thursday. I have it in my notes here if you may allow me to open them.
Absolutely.
So can I read a text message here, Your Honor?
Absolutely, and then I want to look at it.
Okay. So I'm going to read just a couple exchanges we had. I apologize for poor communication because things have been so hectic during the pandemic. My company's looking to hire more installers.
Okay, hold on a second. No.
Okay.
Put the text message up there. I'll look at it myself. And the date.
So the date isn't in the screenshot?
Oh, well, it has to be.
I can pull out my phone and check if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so in this exchange, you're apologizing to him.
The text messages.
No, it's been so hectic here. Started moving through the pandemic. The company is looking to hire more installers right now. More people are calling in than usual.
I was just sharing unnecessary information, I
just
suppose.
need to know what date.
This was on June 20th. So this is my phone
June
here.
20th. I thought that June 20th was the date that you first saw him and collected the $900.
I may be incorrect on my dates, Your Honor. I apologize. I do remember we met on Father's Day. I'm not exactly sure what date that was.
Okay.
I took some time for him for that.
You have your dates down, Mr. Stetler?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
I do.
great. He came to the house on what date?
He came to my house on Sunday, the 20th.
And you gave him $900 in a check.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was he supposed to start this job?
I wanted him to come out on that following Tuesday, and he told me he had to check with his installers to make sure that he was available to come out on that following Tuesday, and he would get back to me. And I have that on a text message as well.
I'd like to see it.
So this on June 20th, or I'm sorry, June 21st is when I show him that I spoke with my wife and wanted to have him come out on Tuesday. I'm sorry.
I talked to my wife. If Tuesday would work, would be fine, just let me know. I'm also not going to worry about installing it, but you address the balance when you finish. Yes or no problem. I'll knock it off the last half of the remaining balance. I haven't heard back from my guys yet. I'll let you know ASAP. So that was June 21st.
On Sunday, correct. And he was responding back to me, letting me know that he still hadn't heard back from his guys.
Yes, I read that. Well, when did he finally respond that he could install? What was the next exchange?
My next exchange from him was on June 30th, Your Honor.
Mr. Bailey, do you have any record that you let him know that you were either available or unavailable that Tuesday?
I believe I do. May I look through my text messages again?
Yes, I want you to look and see. Either I will be there or I won't be there on Tuesday. Checked with his wife. His wife said Tuesday is fine. You said, I haven't heard from my installers. I'll get back to you ASAP. I want to know when the ASAP was, because this case is about he wants the return of his deposit.
So it looks like I got back to him at 8:42 p.m. June 22nd, and I have text messages of that.
So the next one you say was at 8:42 p.m. on Tuesday, when you said what to him, sir? What did you say to him at 8:42?
I said, hey, sorry I had this typed up, but I didn't send. Sorry for the delay. That is no problem at all. That's perfect. We'll see you next Tuesday.
No. Following Tuesday, as we originally saw, showing up early in the morning between 7 and 8. I'll put it on my schedule. Hey, this is Matt Stetler. I had to order the wall mount and monitor. It won't show up until next Thursday, so let's go ahead and schedule the install for the following Tuesday, as we originally discussed, showing up early in the morning between 7 and 8. I'll put it on my schedule. And you say that's no problem. Okay, so the following would be the 27th or the 28th. That's when you wanted him to schedule.
That's
okay,
correct.
because you didn't have the right mounting.
That's correct.
And then what happened?
We didn't speak until I talked to him on the 20...
So now it's supposed to be installed the following Tuesday.
The following
Is that right?
That's correct.
Following Tuesday, which would have been the 29th.
The 29th, Your Honor, that's correct.
Yes, and what happened on the 29th?
So I got in touch with him that Monday, informing him that my wife was sick, or had got sick over the weekend, and Sunday she had to go in for surgery, and I was going to cancel the install for Tuesday, and that I would get back to him at a later date.
So you canceled
Yes,
the night before.
that's correct.
You canceled the night before.
That's correct.
Because your wife had an emergency.
That's correct.
When did you get back to him?
He got back to me on Tuesday, said that he got my text, that he was on a different job, and he would call me later. I had got wrapped up with business and so I reached out to him on July 10th.
Well, why didn't you call him, Mr. Stetler, and without waiting for him? Your wife had an emergency. You canceled with him the night before the job.
That's correct.
You canceled with him the night before the job, saying your wife had an emergency.
That's correct.
And I'll get back to you. And when was the next time you contacted him?
No, I didn't say that I'd get back to him. I told him at this point I wanted to cancel, and it would probably take a few weeks to a month before I rescheduled the camera install.
Yeah.
And I put that in a text message. He had told me that he would get back to me.
Yeah, Mr. Stetler.
Yes, Your
Mr. Stetler.
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't get your money back. Your responses to me are flaky.
No, I don't understand.
Flaky.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Did she give you $80 in cash?
Yes.
When you came out of the facility?
Yes.
Did you ever give her any money?
No, but I've done a lot of things for her.
I don't care. My question was, did you ever give her any money?
Matthew Stetler says home alarm installer Travis Bailey owes for the return of a deposit to install a home surveillance system.
I usually give deposits. He was ready, willing, and able to do this job. You canceled. You canceled the night before, and then you wanted to cancel the whole job. After you had scheduled with him, you knew he spent time, you knew he bought a router, you don't get your money back. You don't set the value for somebody else's time, sir.
That's
I
fine.
assume, did you have somebody else install the system?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Yeah, he doesn't owe you any money. Your case is dismissed. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
It's still open. I mean, he's one of the best guys in town, so I'm not saying that.
Well, I'm more than happy to do the job for him still. I'd be more than happy to do that for him.
It's not open. It's open for discussion, so.
I'd like to make him secure. That's what we do.
I'm glad it's settled.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walton versus Asbury step forward.
Catherine Walton is suing her former friend, Christina Asbury, for rent, a smashed windshield, and a loan to pay her cell phone bill.
Ms. Walton, you and the defendant knew each other for some time, and am I correct that each of you at some point had a drug problem?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
You were in a program, according to what I read in your complaint. The defendant was just coming out of a program. She needed a place to stay. She contacted you, and you indicated that she could, in fact, stay with you for a while until she got on her feet. Could stay with you without rent at first. When she got a job, got on her feet, she would start paying you $400 a month.
Right.
And you also, according to you, loaned her $300 to sort of get her on her feet, to get some clothes and some other stuff. And she got a job relatively quickly. You were released from the facility when?
In April.
And you stayed with Miss Walton month of April?
For the remainder of April, yes.
And May?
Yes.
And in June?
Yes.
And in July?
Yes.
When did you leave?
About 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago?
Ago. Mm-hmm.
So that would be sometime in August.
Yes.
How much rent did you pay her?
I gave her a couple $100 out of a couple of my checks, but I was trying to save money for my own place.
A couple of $100 out of a couple of your checks. A couple is two.
Oh, there was maybe like 3 or 4 that I remember.
How much money did she give you while she was staying with you?
$600 total.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I came home and I immediately saw that my windshield was smashed. And
how did that happen?
I found out who it was, why he broke out her window. I have no clue. I wasn't there.
Name? Name?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Catherine Walton says former friend Christina Asbury owes for rent, a smashed windshield, and a loan.
Now, what was the $300 that you, according to you, loaned her for?
When she moved in, or when she got her job.
When did you get your job?
About 3 weeks after I got out of the program.
Where were you working?
I was working at a natural food store.
Are you still working there?
No.
Where are you working now?
I'm working at a gas station now. We actually work at the same company, different stores.
How long have you worked there?
About 2 months.
Who is this?
This is my boyfriend.
What does he do? Is not an answer.
He doesn't have a job right now.
What does he do? All day?
I don't know. I'm at work.
So he stays home and you work?
Mm-hmm.
How long has he been your boyfriend?
Off and on for a year now.
Did you meet him in the facility?
No.
Where did you meet him?
I met him at my friend's house.
Has he had a job during the year?
Yeah.
Doing what?
He was doing I don't know what it's called, like tree trimming and tree...
Now, what was the
for her clothes for her new job? She had to wear a certain type of outfit.
Did you give her the $300 in cash?
No, I gave her $80 in cash, and the cell phone and the cell phone bill I put on my credit card.
Did she purchase a cell phone for you?
Yeah, she didn't say that I had to pay her back, though.
Just question is, did she purchase a cell phone for you?
Yes.
Did she pay your cell phone bill?
Yes.
Did she give you $80 in cash?
Yes.
When you came out of the facility?
Yes.
What about clothes?
I didn't have any when I moved with her.
Did she help you get some?
Yes.
Where did you first meet Miss Walton?
I met her through my ex-husband. We met about 10 years ago. Her ex and my ex were friends, and we've just continued to be friends even though those relationships are done and gone.
Did you ever give her any money?
No, but I've done a lot of things for her.
I don't care. My question was, did you ever give her any money?
No.
And who do you work for, Miss Walton?
I work at a gas station.
Do you live alone?
I have a daughter who's 5.
Anything else you want to tell me?
She also owes me for a windshield that got broken. My car windshield that got broken.
Well, explain that to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to and follow us on Twitter.
Well, explain that to me.
On July 4th, I came home and I immediately saw that my windshield was smashed out. I have a picture of it if you want to see. And
how did that happen?
I wasn't there. I found out who it was, and I told her who it was.
Who was it?
It was this person that I had bought a computer from. He had gotten mad because I wasn't picking up my phone, and I don't know why he went.
Did you owe him money for the computer?
Yes, I did. Why he broke out her window, I have no clue. I wasn't there. I wasn't part of it.
Your Honor, she would drive my car all the time. She doesn't have her own car, so she would borrow it. So I assume the person thought the car was maybe hers.
She's not responsible for the windshield.
She signed for the bill to pick it up.
I don't care. She just gave you the name of the person who broke your windshield.
She did. I didn't hear her name.
Oh, name? Name?
Mike. I don't know who that is.
She'll tell you who it is. Go file a police report.
If I hadn't have met her or let her drive my car, it would have never been broken.
If my mother were taller, I would have been 5'8".
She agreed that she would.
I'm telling you, she's not responsible for your windshield.
She agreed that she would pay.
Do you understand? She's not responsible for your windshield. I don't care what she agreed to. That's why you're here. She's not responsible for your windshield. Go and file a police report against
I did file a police
and
report.
Sue. Well, did you put down the name of the person?
I did, and they didn't seem to care.
Sue him.
I think she should give me the computer for it.
Listen to me. She's not responsible for the criminal act of another person.
Not criminally, but
it's
civilly.
a criminal act of another person. I'm trying to explain something to you. Did she go to law school?
No.
She's not responsible for the criminal act of another person. Vandalism is a criminal act. She's not responsible for it. She was responsible for the $300 that she borrowed from you in order to get on her feet.
Even with the babysitting? I've done a lot of babysitting and stuff for her.
Listen to me. You paid $600 over 4 months that you lived in her house. You can't board a gerbil for that amount of money for 4 months. You're bigger than a gerbil. So if you babysat, cleaned the bathroom, did the refrigerator, scrubbed out the stove, good for you. You were living practically for nothing.
Her daughter lived there as well, and I watched her daughter too.
So I look as if I need your help. No. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. That's all. Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.